Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Monkey Business. We're back, this time to discuss polite society. I'm one of your hosts, Warren, and I'm going to be a stuntman. Serendipitously, not alone in this endeavor, joined by, wait, why are you wearing a cardigan? You never wear cardigans. Anyways, Carter, you want to help me with the vid for the channel? Please? Please?
Fine.
See, I had a great idea for a vid for the channel. So the gods are going to whisper to the warrior, "You will not withstand the fury." And a resident warrior Will is going to whisper back.
I am the Fury.
So, yes, we're here to discuss polite society. Any opening remarks before Will goes over the synopsis?
It's a lot to take in for an hour and a half, but it's a great ride the whole way.
A second that. All right, so Will, what's our synopsis?
All right, so essentially, Polite Society follows Rita Khan, self-proclaimed future stuntwoman, and Eunice Herthart, fangirl. Essentially, what happens after some minor antics at the beginning and some character introductions is that Rhea has a fight at school with the bully Kovac. From there, she and her family go to an Eid soiree where Rhea uncovers the fact that all these girls are here to be match made with resident heartthrob Salim. Eventually, Lena, Rhea's sister, catches the eye of Salim and they start hitting it off. They go on plenty of dates. Lena starts dressing differently, and she's actually kind of coming into her own self. However, barely a month goes by, and then already Salim and Lena are engaged, and Rhea makes it her mission to break up this wedding. Except things don't go as planned. She ends up basically backstabbing her friends, arguing them out of her life. She breaks into Salim's mother's house to try and plant evidence that he's cheating, and then she gets caught, and she has to have this huge apology. And in the midst of all these apologies, she goes over to Salim's mother and just says, "Hey, I'm sorry. Can you forgive me?" To which Rahila, is the mother's name, offers her in for a spa day. However, Rhea, never one to back down from any type of challenge or to think good of anybody in this film ever, decides to poke around the house and discovers, much to the horror of the audience and Rhea herself, that Salim is planning on cloning his mother using Lena's womb. So yeah, the wedding has to be canceled. So then Rhea enlists her friends back who forgive her. She enlists the help of the bully. They trash the wedding. Lena gets chloroformed, but then recruited to the cause of the destruction of Salim. And in the end, they get burgers, film a quick video, and Eunice emails Rhea back to say she would love to have her on for an internship. Super simple stuff, right? Very straightforward.
I think that just about covered it.
I think she just gets choked. I don't think they chloroform her.
Dude, okay, that scene, the
I think they
chloroform
just
is
knock
so
her out.
low. Like, it's over her mouth and everything. It's hilarious. And it takes like 30 seconds too. Funniest thing, man.
That was pretty great when there's running around with her hidden under the snack cart,
Mm-hmm.
going back and forth trying to dodge everybody.
Hand slips out.
Gotta
Stick it
kick
back
that
in.
back in. Classic.
Monkey business. Monkey business.
And no more monkey business.
It's their own monkey business.
All right, so what you guys want to talk about first? Characters, set, the accent, the British accent, which adds to all of the humor all the time.
What if we start with, for the people who haven't seen it, explaining what genre it's in?
Warren, what genre
If
do you think it's in?
It's a very fun and weird mixture of, I describe it as like an action adventure comedy sci-fi question mark.
Is it sci-fi?
You reveal at the end a little bit. What do you guys think?
I would say it's sci-fi. I think it does delve into the sci-fi part of it. I think in each act it kind of takes on its own genre, jumps from one to the other to the other. But there's carryover, obviously. Yeah, sci-fi, understandable. I could see there an argument for that. Not predominantly sci-fi, but
No, no.
Just found it to be a wholesome family drama. Comedy. Dramedy.
action comedy drama.
Exactly.
I think perhaps the best way I saw it described was in an interview with the director. She described it as a blend between Jane Austen and Jackie Chan vibes.
And wasn't it like Edgar Wright too was thrown in there as well?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently she's a big fan of Jackie Chan, Edgar Wright, and the Coen brothers. So
I didn't
very
get a whole
cool.
lot of Coen Brothers
Very good
vibes from
influences.
this.
See, maybe that's
I
why I liked it.
I did not get a ton of Coen brothers influences out of it either, but
I saw
very, very Edgar Wright.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
yes.
Edgar Wright fingerprints all over this one.
Which I thoroughly
Very
enjoyed.
cool.
It was
Oh, yeah.
also her own style too, because let's see, Edgar Wright films it's all the comedies with Nick
Yep,
Nick Frost and Simon Pegg,
and
right?
Simon Pegg.
Yeah. So I've seen Hot Fuzz, World's End, Shaun of the Dead. I think just those three. Carter, you?
Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Okay,
would
yeah,
be
I've
the
seen that
other-
as well.
And Baby Driver.
Mm-mm.
I'm missing one in between those two. Or maybe I'm not. I don't know. Last Night in Soho is the most recent.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I haven't seen that. But I think just the overall pacing of it reminded me a lot of it, but she really did kind of keep it moving really quick. And the character introductions worked really well. And the cast and the jokes, it all felt really, really tight. And whichever genre it was in, because it kind of let you sit in some of the serious moments and also just laugh your head off at many of the jokes. And then yeah, fine. The science and tech got a little crazy there for a while with the cloning tubes, or with the cloning what do you call those things? Tubes or jars or whatever. Really, really fun. And I think the choreography I also loved, and the whole the costume design. Very fun as well.
I think the editing was also great because a lot of the action scenes, the way they're edited, they're super over the top dramatic, even if it's just like a failed kick or something. The way they edit like the slow-mo and the way they cut it and everything, it's fantastic.
I think the second I realized, I was like, oh, it's going to be this style of movie, was in the first fight between Rhea and Kovac. Her friends just go, all right, Kovac versus Rhea, everybody gather around.
It has the title slides and everything.
Oh my
Han
gosh,
versus
yes.
Kovac.
And then she does the flying spinning kick, and I'm like, okay, is this all in her imagination, or what direction is this going to take? And then Kovac catches her and throws her across the room into the trophy case. I was like, oh, and I was like, all right, I'm along for the ride, because I think that it's at that point where you're either gonna sign up for the movie or kind of back out and just go, that's not really my thing. Thoughts?
First fight had me very worried. I wasn't a big fan of it. I don't think it was the setting was cool. I like this circle of kids all running around, chanting, saying, edging them on. But like the dialogue was a bit cringy. I know like kind of that's the purpose, like because it's like a classic stupid fight. But it had me a
10
little
points
worried.
from Gryffindor in subordination.
But that isn't at all where I checked out, because afterward I think it just like every fight got better and better, and it really won me over after that one. So
Cool.
I was bracing myself, but in my opinion it recovered and it got awesome after that.
I'm a lot more with Will
Oh.
on this one. I really
Really?
enjoyed that fight, and I think that is kind of where I realized that's what the movie would be like, because that's in a sense almost like a microcosm of the larger movie, because this is the first like big action sequence that they have, and it was just a lot of fun with all
Yeah.
the kids in a circle around the fight.
Mhm.
And here's her big moment, and then does not go as planned at all.
Yeah, on paper it works really well. It's just a necessary, introduction to they're actually going to take this seriously. They're actually going to
Mhm.
like fight each other in this movie, which is cool and great. And it works. I like the title slides are cool. They're funny. I don't know, something that it just didn't stick with me as much as the others did. I don't know why.
I mean, I also agree that the movie progressively just keeps getting better.
Mhm.
But I personally, I loved how cringy and cheesy it was, because with the opening scene, when you don't know anybody's names yet, and you're just kind of watching as Rhea films her stuff, And because like the first words is a bunch of swear words as Lena is painting, then just starts stabbing the
painting,
painting.
yeah.
And then she goes out on her depressed walk and just goes in and buys a whole
And just
chicken
eats an
and
entire
just puts it
chicken
on
while
the
she's sitting
side.
on the ground.
And then her family comes, or it's like the people who know her mom just walk past and just like, who's that depressed single girl right
Uh-huh.
there?
See, that's the Edgar Wright in it. Edgar Wright would
Mhm.
he would kind of take his time and he'd set up and he'd do that again for another 10 minutes or so before he'd have a big action sequence. He wouldn't feel the need um to to try to plunge a hook into the audience so early on. But
No, yeah.
but I don't want to sound like I'm being too harsh on this movie. What I said to Warren walking out of the theater, I said it's really, really good. I don't know if it's great, but it's really, really good, and it's a blast. It's a debut for sure, but
Yeah.
it's awesome at that. Like it definitely puts puts her on the map. What's her name? Oh, sorry,
Nida Manzoor.
Nida Manzoor. Yeah, just bursting with energy, bursting with passion. Really enjoyed it, even if I have a few flaws with it.
I think one of the things that you're touching on is something that I very readily gave so much grace to, because it's kind of one of those first films. It's you're just going out there. This is all you. You have no idea if this is going to be a box office hit or how critics are going to do this. You have nothing. She has like a few episodes, I think, of a TV series that she directed as well before this. I can't remember what it was, but it was pretty well received. But this is her first feature length film. And so everything that I kind of had minor issues with, I was just like, oh, I can't wait to see her career in 10 years. Where I'm still just laughing my butt off. And I was like, when everybody goes, oh, Nita Manzoor did this, which is what I hope happens because I love this style. I love the Edgar Wright in it, and I love the comedy in it, and I love the cast and everything. There's just so much passion project type of love thrown into this film. And I totally respected it for that. And so I definitely give it a more inflated rating than if I was watching like a Coen Brothers film, right? And it's like, oh, okay. Well, I know I like their other stuff. I'm going to compare it to this. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I believe Manzoor has also said that she's been working on it for like 10 years and initially couldn't get funding for whatever. So it's a project that took a lot of dedication to keep working on and keep trying to get out there.
Mm-hmm. Are you guys fans of title cards inside of movies?
Oh, 100%.
I
Yes.
love them.
Yeah.
It was just it's like we are not, the first one is the Khan versus Kovac, and then it goes straight into the Eid soiree one.
There's
And
no way we're going
to a
title
Eid
slide.
soiree. and there's just so much that's set up that you don't even know that's going on, and all the little plot points. Let's talk about the sister, I guess. Do you think like enough is put into her? Do you think that she's compelling to follow as a sister to Rhea, or do you think that Rhea really carries this movie in terms of total decision making? Or I don't know. Did you like the cast, I guess, overall? Or
I really like the cast. I think it's an interesting question you bring up because I think the most important part about Lena is that she's, well, her part in the plot, but also she's a very important foil for Rhea.
Mhm.
And so it's Rhea's journey that we're on, but Lena plays an important part in that.
Okay.
But certainly the character might not have made sense if Lena was the focal character, but I think she's great as a secondary character.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you, but I think like I don't think either of the sisters have I don't think there's weakness in either of them in their characters or their performances. I think especially Priya Kansara in the as the lead performance
Mhm.
as Rhea just kills it. She is so good in this movie. Like it's worth it just to see her performance. First time for her, I think,
And
in a movie at least.
I couldn't tell you.
didn't she do all her own stunts too?
I don't know. She might have.
I don't know. It would fit with
Yeah, with her character.
I'm
That'd
not
be
100%
awesome.
sure, but
Uh-huh.
I feel like I remember seeing that somewhere. But either
Uh-huh.
way, yeah, great
That's
performance.
cool. Yeah. And the sister dynamic is awesome. It's so
It's the
good.
heart of
One
the
of the best
film.
parts of the
Yeah.
movie, really. Yeah, it is. For sure.
Kind of the begrudging love into the whole, into Lena kind of going, I'm an adult, I know what I'm doing, pushing Rhea away. And also like Rhea's betrayal of trust on a lot of people. Yeah, she gets results, but she really does embarrass Lena after she breaks into the house, even though we know that that's set up for future stuff. Um, and we know that she just pushes everybody away. And I think how the characters deal with personal struggle is also very realistic and very well done. And it wasn't written by someone who had never gone through any type of awkward social interactions with siblings or with parents, or who at least didn't observe them in the lives of others. Because I think sometimes there's huge disconnects on the ways that movies portray how life works, and they're trying to be realistic, and how life actually happens, right? One of my favorite scenes is at the end where Rhea has rescued Lena from the wedding and they're driving away. And Lena's asking her, like, what was your plan? And she's like, oh, I was taking you to his cottage. And then I bought all these canvases and paint so you can work on your art again. And then Lena says, I think I'm still going to take a break from art. And it's still like a real struggle that she went through. It's not like masked over and this whole thing of like, oh my gosh, you've woken me up and you've saved me from who I am. And this is my calling. Rhea has answered my life. It was just like, no, this is still a real issue that I'm going through, but I appreciate you with the help. I don't know. I found that scene really touching.
Yeah, I think that's part of the magic of this movie, is that even though it has all these super over the top, over dramatified action sequences, if you will, they're still able to have just the family sitting around the table and all the family struggles, and especially the dynamic between Rhea and Lena, the two sisters.
Mhm.
There's so much going on there throughout all of these phantasmagorical happenings that are going on.
Phantasmagorical. Fair enough.
Okay. Yeah, because yeah, like you said, Will, I mean, you nailed it. Like it's so real, it's so genuine. It's written by someone who just totally gets it and understands it and can relate it to their lives and relate it to so many other people that have been talking about it, which is just awesome. That's the point of film. And despite all the cliches that it falls into, like it doesn't fall into any of them when it comes to their relationships, which just really, really pushes the movie to the next level for me. So I think it's awesome. Is this I this is the one that said like that's such a cliche trope or something, and then they said, yeah, it's a because tropes work. Is that this
Yeah,
movie? Am I,
I
yeah, okay,
believe that
okay.
line was in here.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And like even when it's like you ruined my wedding, but you saved my life. And then Rigo's like, I see it. He's like, yeah, little drama. It was funny because you kind of saw them with all their antics earlier. And it's just, oh my goodness. I stinking also loved, in terms of other dynamics, Rahila and Salim, right? The mom and the son. It starts off like really sweet and kind of doting, and then it just gets creepier with more context. And it's so funny. Thoughts on them?
I really like the son. He's just like, his mom's out like kidnapping people and trying to make a clone. He's just like, Mom, come on. Completely indifferent to
Mhm.
everything going on.
I really like the mom a lot, and I thought the son was I could take him or leave him. I don't know.
Sounds like you want to
I
leave him.
liked both the moms a lot. I liked all the
Oh, yeah, man.
yeah, both Rhea and her sister's mom and the evil mom, I guess.
Dude, dude, the torture scene with
Yeah,
Rahila,
that
where,
was
they're holding her down and doing
hilarious
like
as they're doing
waxing. It was the
they're like
funniest thing.
turning the spa day into this torture, the scene where they film a torture, just so good.
Dude, me and my mom were cracking up.
Uh-huh.
And honestly, our theater had like 8 or 12 people and it was pretty good, and most people were laughing along with all the scenes as well. So I know you guys had the theater to yourselves entirely.
Yep.
It was pretty
Um,
great.
but I have to say the people who we were with were kind of on board too. But the best relationship in this film is probably, what are their names? Clara and Alba, or Clara and
Oh,
Alba.
those three friends, made the movie for me.
Their
Every scene with them,
handshake.
I'm just trying to contain my laughter.
I mean, I wouldn't say best relationship in the film,
Yeah, maybe not
No,
best
but
because of
relationship,
the
they're
but the best,
funny, man.
but
best
easily
dynamic.
second best, and they were hilarious. Yeah, I'm just, just saying, hold up there.
What is it? It's like shoulders forward, boobs back, like walk like this when they're kind of going into the male locker room. Bro, it was the
I forgot about that
funniest
scene.
thing.
So you're asking us to risk our lives or even worse, our academic careers.
I just loved it, man. And then when they're sneaking into the wedding to be backup, and they've just got like the butler uniforms on, and they're just going like, "Oh my gosh, hey, we're sorry, we're late. We were doing other stuff." And they're like, "Oh my gosh, it is that easy to just sneak into anywhere." Ah, and then it's just the
I like how the bully joins them at the end. Another cliche that they kind of it's like because I didn't like the first fight scene. I was like, this is stupid and like this is like not good dialogue. And then like it just totally wins me over. It totally flips itself on its head, and the bully just joins him, and like they don't like become best friends, but they're like they join up, they team up, and it really everything circles back. For every time it slips, there are two times it just soars, I think.
Mhm. And just like, yeah, you're right. My dad is a jerk. And they like drive away in the car and everything. And some things they gloss over. Like, how in the world does Rhea know how to drive a stick shift at the end of the film?
Everyone
But,
chasing you after Albo wearing the wedding veil.
dude, when she like puts it on and does like the little run with just like, oh, she's going this way. But then that scene is also brilliant, in my opinion, because it just shows that all these other girls would just die to be this rich guy's wife, even though it means you're just an object to him. And it's like the only people who have actual any sense is the Khan family. Dude, because you think it's like, oh my gosh, all these girls are going to turn on Salim, and they're like, how dare you not want to birth the clone of his mother? Ugh, how trashy can you be? Hilarious.
Should we explain the twist at the end, the final one?
Sure, go for it.
Which
Okay.
twist are you referring to?
Oh, the final one at the end, the big one, I guess, the clone.
Oh,
Oh,
I thought
I
we were
said
gonna
that
talk
in the
about that.
summary, didn't I?
Did you?
I said it in
Okay.
the summary.
I
So I
sorry, I
guess
just forgot. Because I'm thinking like if you're a listener, you're probably very confused.
Okay, yeah. So let me
I'm a
reiterate.
little confused
No,
myself.
if you said it, it's all good. I'm sorry. We can
No,
edit
no,
this
no,
out. My
no.
bad if I
But
missed it.
I think to kind of put it in the full context is while so the brief context is Rhea tries to break up the wedding by herself by breaking into the Salim and Rahila's house, right? And while doing so, she gets caught. After she gets caught, she decides to go back and apologize because her mother said so. And then Rahila invites her in to have a spa day. And that's kind of where some of like the crazy antics of a torture scene with revolving around waxing come into play. And Rahila kind of lets her know, it's like, hey, my son is the end all be all. Don't mess with me. Okay, nothing's gonna go wrong. Rhea gets scared, runs away, goes into the basement, and discovers this basically gyno room where Salim is researching how to clone his mom. And
Which is why he specializes in genetics as a doctor.
yeah, it's like
So a
in
good
the
setup.
gynecology kind of field, and for fertility kind of stuff is what they hint at, really. Because that's what a lot of the instruments in the setup in that area revolve around. And it's also mentioned a couple times that he's very comfortable with a woman on her period and all these types of things. Anyway, she finds this room and then busts out through a window in the basement, but now she's scared because she can't go to her parents because they've sworn her not to break off the wedding. And so she's now back in this world of, I have to apologize to my friends and we have to sabotage the wedding because otherwise Lena's going to get impregnated with the clone of Salim's mom. And it's kind of it's 5 minutes of what is going on, and it's the funniest thing ever. And then the movie just kind of picks right back up and keeps you along for the ride, really. Does that summarize it well enough?
Perfect.
Okay.
To summarize,
Yeah,
his
really.
sister's getting married and she's trying to stop the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
That's the gist of it.
But like really quick with the friends where they're trying to bust Lena out at the wedding, and they're just like, how do they get into the room? How do they sneak their way in there? They bring a cart with tea, and the security guard's like, there's no way I'm letting anybody in there. And they're like, well, she's on her period. Heavy flow. And then he's like, oh, that makes me uncomfortable. And then he lets them in. And then they proceed to chloroform her as she's smoking out the window. It's hilarious. Like they open the door, she's all in this wedding garb. And what is she doing? She's smoking a cigarette and blowing it outside. Oh, man.
What's your favorite scene from the movie? To give you some time to think about it, I'll go first.
Go for it if you know it. Yeah.
My favorite scene was when Rhea and Lena just they get into an argument and then words kind of fail them. They just start going berserk. Basically have a WWE match upstairs and start just destroying everything in the house, throwing each other around, and destroying everything, going through doors. And yeah, that entire scene. The parents are just like, come on, knock it off. That was
So,
pretty great. Very
Dude, the
relatable.
lines in that are perfect because it really lets you sit in that moment where Lena says, because I'm not good enough. And she's like, why do you have to marry this guy? Why'd you give up art? Why? And that's really what the fight's about, right? And Lena just goes, because I'm not good enough. And then kind of lets you sit there for a second. And then the mom yells up and what was it? It's like, I don't care whose fault it is, but clean it up and come downstairs. I think for me, it's the wedding and the wedding escape. I think the fight between Rahila and Rhea is fantastic with the way all the dresses are moving and everything, and then when Lena has the gun, awesome. And then the whole the marriage scene where Rahila goes and just says like, "Listen, priest, you're not moving anywhere. You're marrying these two people." Yeah, I think everything about the wedding to me is just nonstop action packed and really really funny. Even the dance that Rhea does is really really good as well. And then of course when they beat up Salim by kicking
Speaking
him.
of the wedding scene, this I found pretty fascinating. Apparently, every wedding related scene, they had to film all of those in a week. Pretty impressive.
Dang.
Good for them because that's
That's
like 40 minutes
It's a
of
lot of
runtime.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, because I guess you rent out the big building. You got it for a week. Got to get everything in.
Well, if it's the
That's
building,
hectic,
that's
but
not
man.
just that scene though. So if they rent out
Well,
the building, that'd be the Eid soiree. That's
no, the Eatory wasn't at that
That was a different
venue.
place. Yeah.
It was
Oh,
at a
was
different
it?
house. Yeah. But
Okay.
the wedding scene with all the extras and the big,
Okay.
they had
Yeah.
the waiters and the guests and all the chairs
They had a
there
couple
Mhm.
different fight scenes.
going
Yeah.
up and down the room. Yeah, running through the halls.
I mean, they've used that building. They use every single inch of that building.
Yeah.
It felt like they really kind of do take you on that journey of, oh, you can get lost in here, you can run through 1,500 doors, you really can kind of dive and dodge around anything and everyone, in order to kind of keep the action going. And then,
My favorite action scenes definitely just Rhea versus Rahina.
Which time?
Just them two before the big wedding scene. Just one-on-one before she has the gun. The gun was like, okay, she has a gun, she's shooting the ceiling.
it's hilarious.
Yeah, a little bit. I enjoyed the smaller scenes just as much. Like I liked her like every time she's at school. That's probably the highlight stuff for me. Just her like dialogue scenes. I'm lukewarm on the fight, obviously, but her talking to her teacher, like just constantly shifting focus, like getting, talking back to her classmates. Really good stuff there. It was funny when she's in trouble sitting on the couch and everyone is lined up just ridiculing her and she's in just the camo paint still. Um, Quite interesting stuff. Funny and, emotional.
Mhm. All right. Yeah. You know what? Let's talk about it. One of the main themes in this film,
Yeah, maybe not a main
is-
theme.
I think it's a main
It's a
theme.
pretty big
I
film.
think it's the main theme
Yeah.
after
It's
Sisterhood.
a very tertiary theme.
Warren, it is not, my guy. Like you just play ignorant if you're like, the movie
Mhm.
had that as a theme? Dude, what? Is kind of like female biology, the period, the reproduction system and stuff like that, right? Some of the opening shots, they are in a biology classroom and there's just like the female reproductive system plastered on the walls, and it's a very almost awkward shot to start with. You're like, what type of an angle are they choosing? Because
Nah,
it's very
a
intentional. And then you
hilarious
just
shot.
go,
That's great.
oh yeah, I was cracking up, but I was like, what? Why is that one of the
That's
opening
just
shots?
good framing. Yeah.
And then you have the whole thing with the way that characters respond to a girl being on her period, right? To the head butler who's white and the bodyguard who's white, both respond to kind of cringe away from the subject and just go, that all right, that's disgusting, I don't want to hear any more, that's just female stuff. And then something that actually kind of warms you up to Salim and Rahila is the fact that Salim is very comfortable around Lena because her period starts when she's at his house, and she stains his like bed sheets and stuff like that in the morning. And he's like, no, it's fine. I can take care of this. I've worked with this before in my biology field. I can take care of the sheets. Don't worry about it. He really just takes care of her immediately. And then the mom also just goes, oh, well, here, you need like this in your diet, and don't worry about this. And she just tells Lena, it's like, hey, it's like that's part of what our bodies do. It's nothing to be ashamed of. If you need anything else, let me know. And you're like, wow, these are actually really kind of caring characters. Is Rhea wrong about them? But then you find out the reason that he knows so much is so that he can clone his mom, and that's where it becomes kind of sick and nasty. Thoughts?
Sick and nasty. Yeah.
So I guess to continue on it is, I guess I'll give my thoughts on it because that's just more or less a summary of how it is in the film. I thought it was really well done. I thought it really had a gentle touch to it. It wasn't any type of like a pushy subject. It wasn't just like, hey, people need to think about this more. It was just like, this is something that is natural, that happens. And our characters are going to respond in it in the way that characters can respond to it. It's got the creepy vibes as soon as you realize what the family is going on to it. And I really thought that that was the interesting twist because you didn't know what was going on until then. And Rhea is also having she's having almost like a flashback of, well, you figure out later it's a flashback, but she's on a kind of observation table, if you will, for like a gynecology type thing. And Salim is operating on it. And she's like, that's too weird. That couldn't have been real. It's just a nightmare. And then it turns out that he did drug her. And that it really is like rape what's going on. And in that, you kind of learn to also then hate Salim as well as the mom, who are just abusing this poor girl without her consent during the film. And then they overcome and stuff like that in order to, well, comeuppance, right? Salim and Rahila get what's coming to them.
Yeah, I think it's awesome that it's in there. I think it's very much a centered focus of the film. Probably the focus after sisterly relationships. Um, I think it's not a super deep analysis of it, but I think it's great that it doesn't have to be. It's something that's just more casual. It's just treating it as something that's just casual, something that just happens, something that's just natural, just the way that people are. Yeah, behind everything you said. I think the one thing that kind of didn't sit right with me was like, as you said, like the one guy that's like very open and very accepting of it is turns out to be just straight up evil,
Yeah, he's a literal rapist. Like
which
it's
is
yeah.
which is unfortunate.
Yes.
But I guess it's like I guess it's also kind of saying it's like, you know, as a girl at that stage of life, there really isn't anyone on your side, unfortunately, at times. But overall, just another nitpick I have. Nothing major.
Yeah,
Well
fair.
done.
Mhm. I also found it to be quite humorous at times where the two friends kind of used it because they knew that the male bodyguard would cringe away from the subject if they just said that Lena's on her period. They're like, oh, she needs this because she's on her period. And he's like, get away from me. And then and then they basically drug Lena to get her in the bottom of a food cart and steal her away.
Yeah, pretty cool. Weaponizing it, as they say. Um, a quote from the director I really, really liked is action is so typically for men, but in a way it's so perfect for the teenage girl because to be a teenage girl is such a violent experience. Not only is your body changing in a painful way, you're also being treated differently by society. She says, I was really excited to use action because through using action, my characters are in full control of their physical selves. It's exciting to use a tool to explore femininity that isn't often done.
Oh yeah. Like dude, that's a great way to summarize the film, right?
It really
Because she
is,
just
I
goes,
know.
I am the Fury. And I that also goes into the performances, right? Where they are so stinking believable.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, you go. You are the Fury. You're rooting for her because she's just a good character, not because of any relation, any type of look, any type of location. It's just she is immediately likable, immediately fun, and she's honest in front of the camera and everything. You just want to be a friend. You want to root for her, and the action really does fall so well inside of each of the scenes. I know that you have some minor nitpicks with everything, and that's totally fine. But are there any fight scenes that involve men?
I don't think so.
Yeah, didn't even notice it. Like
Yeah.
I was like, is there? It's like, no, but they're all really fun. Oh yeah, because even at the spa day, it's the three ladies are helping with the spa day,
Hmm.
and it's just another fun showdown.
Oh, that was a good action scene. I forgot about
Yeah.
that one. That was another good one. But yeah, it does take an action movie and kind of flip it on its head, where it's all, women fighting, and the men are just kind of there as the love interests, which is kind of cool.
But I don't think you even notice it. Like if
Nope,
someone had told me, it's like, oh,
not at
by the
all.
way, this film is it really just stars women. And I'm not saying like, oh, high five us, so woke. It's just like, no, that this film is that good that it doesn't have to push anything. It's written well, and it it's compelling enough that you're just like, you know what? I just want to see them fight someone. I just want to, and as soon as they're fighting each other, you're like, oh yeah, they're all throwing hands now.
All right, I've got a question for you.
Yeah, sure.
So, given that we see most of the story from Ria's perspective and imagination, what do you think of the idea that the second half of the movie, it's not what actually happened, but it's what Ria imagines her life's movie should be?
I don't care. I don't care. If this is the movie we got, that's what they wanted to show, the story they wanted to tell. I'm not into dissecting it in that way and picking it apart. I respect your question. This isn't an attack on you, but this is how the story laid out, and I'm taking it as it is.
Warren, is this like a fan theory or just like
No,
a
it's
question
just
that you came up with while watching it?
that's kind of the vibe I got watching it.
Really?
It was all a dream, Will. It was all a dream.
I
That
hate
type of
those
that type of
things.
idea. Yeah.
Well, I'm
Because
gonna
the
go with
entire
no.
movie we're seeing so much like almost everything that's happening. It's not necessarily what's actually happening. We're seeing it from her perspective and what she's imagining things to be, not what they actually are.
So for me, I kind of go and just go, nah, this is the real. So I'm very much until I'm told to go, oh, this is all in their head. I am very much along for this is the type of world that they live in. It might be slightly exaggerated, but sure, you know what? These kung fu flying kicks are possible, right? Like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, where you've got like some of these crazy kung fu stunts that are going on. It's like, all right, sure, this is just the world they live in. Why not? This is how spin kicks work. This is how that works, and it all kind of fit in with the characters. And because other characters kind of interacted with Ria's vision of herself, and because Ria also gets beat up a lot,
Which
I'm
is
very
great.
yeah. It's like it's not an invincible main character. She goes up against Rahila and she gets like choked and beat up, and it is rough, man, for her. And she looks like all bruised and battered, but then she overcomes. She gets back up and she lands that spinning, flying triple dragon kick.
Anime training arc.
Not in the slightest. But anyway, it's just yeah, no, it wouldn't if you told me that that's what happened, I'd be like, oh, okay, I wouldn't care. But I'm pretty solidly on the line of, nah, this is actually what happened, and it's really funny. Because I don't watch to just go with another Edgar Wright film, right? I don't watch Shaun of the Dead and go, oh man, he really did just envision all these zombies everywhere, and he's still just at work, and that's what life is.
Well, I think the much better comparison would be um, either Scott Pilgrim versus the World or World's End, because those two are just so much more fantastical.
Okay, yeah,
But
but
like
I
they're
I don't remember Scott Pilgrim versus the World
fair, fair, fair.
as
Okay.
much, but and that's not to say that it's a forgettable movie by any stretch of the imagination. It's just I haven't seen that one in a
Well,
while.
like Shaun of the Dead is my favorite Edgar Wright movie.
Really? Oh, let's
Yes, like
go.
by far. But like it's a zombie movie, you know? It doesn't have the giant action fantasy sequences that Scott Pilgrim or World's End do that kind of mirror this one, that mirror played society a lot more.
But I guess with that style, I still kind of always went World's End, Scott Pilgrim. This is what's actually happening, right? And like the whole Brian Lee O'Malley comic books, it's like this is the actual life
That's just
that Scott
Canada, you
Pilgrim is
know?
living.
That's what they
Yeah,
do in
it's
Canada.
just what happens to Canada. You have to fight
So you
off
guys are
the
more on the
ex-boyfriends.
Walking Dead World Beyond train, where even though things are a little imaginative at times, it's still what do you think's actually happening?
Oh yeah, I think that's
Okay.
the much more fun way. And this isn't something I consciously think during the film, where I'm like,
Me
oh, I'm
neither.
going to watch this film in this way because I'm going to suspend belief. It's just I naturally enjoy the film that way more, to just kind of believe it, right? I'm not reading a fantasy book and going, well, they actually wouldn't have had those tools because those are from like the Bronze Age, and you said that you're in like the Stone Age. Why? Just suspend belief and let the story kind of take you where it wants to. And yeah, I'm pretty easily entertained.
It's not about
but
suspending belief though. It's just about how you interpret the story and trying to understand what the story is going to do. That's all I was asking.
okay. I'm pretty solid in the it's all reality.
Okay.
Um and but it's her reality, right?
Exactly.
Her reality that's actually happening, because reality's real.
Maybe not if it's her reality though.
So you said you picked up, how did you come to that conclusion, I guess?
Well, no, I don't actually think that's what it is. I was just playing devil's advocate, throwing it out there. It could be. I'm not going to say it's not.
I'm gonna email Nida Manzoor,
We need to find this out for real.
ask her, hey, I've got this one friend, he thinks this happened, please tell me it doesn't. I still love your film anyway, thanks.
Okay, so I'll throw this out there. I think
Yeah.
probably the best part about the film is the chord it strikes with the sibling dynamic between Rhea and Lena.
Mm-hmm.
And I think part of why it's so heartfelt is because it really explores the fears of growing up and other people growing up and life changing and wanting things to stay the same when, the world changes and things don't stay the same.
Yeah, it's got like that coming of age vibe
Yeah.
to it.
And I will say, I think this is the first movie that I've related to that much in quite a while, because it just took me back to, well, don't tell him I said this, but back when I was in, I don't know how old was I? I don't know, in elementary school at some point, when my older brother started going to college, and just that stretch where things changed so much because used to him,
Aww.
being there all the time and doing all sorts of shenanigans all the time, and then college starts and he's not there nearly as much anymore. And it evoked that same feeling of wanting life to stay the same and dreading the change and people growing up. And yeah, it brought back a lot of those feelings. I thought it was really well done.
Dude, that's actually pretty awesome, because that's not exactly something that it's like, yeah, the fear of growing up is always there, right? Like more responsibility, more changes. But from a family where I have an associate's and I have the most college experience of all my siblings, right? So it's really cool to just see how that there are so many ways to love. I know, as Carter has said probably 1.5 million times, it's like there are so many ways to love cinema from a vast number of perspectives. You can just come in and dive into a story, get absorbed in such a way in it, and take away something that you forgot you once experienced, or experience something that you never experienced before. And it really is such a beautiful medium of it's almost criminal to just call it entertainment, right? Because it's
I'm not sure I'd go
story.
that far, call it
Well,
criminal.
But
I see it's criminal to only call it entertainment.
fair, but it's just like the wealth of stories that can just be told, because I related into Everything Everywhere All at Once in a completely different way than you guys, right? And just the way you can even have like such diverse conversations about movies that some people love and some people hate. And I think that's like one of the films that I've heard the most people ever have cried at is Toy Story 3. And all the people who cried it are moms. And you're talking about the college thing, right? But it's when Andy goes away to college and his mom walks into the empty room. And I hadn't even gotten, no one in my family was even in college yet. And my mom was bawling during that scene. And my dad got teary during that scene. It's just, it is amazing to be able to get swept away or back to memories. Like you're making new ones and recalling old ones at the same time. It's so
Power
cool.
of storytelling. Yep.
You can't let stories die. You got to keep passing on, because that's how you get new themes, new perspectives, heck, new talent as well. It's wonderful. Carter, we all know you're like the biggest probably cinema lover here. Anything to add on this kind of topic?
Think you nailed it. I don't know.
Well, it's like everything that I said, pretty much I heard from you first, and I agree with it like wholeheartedly.
Appreciate it.
It's a masterful.
You put your own spin on it. It's not me, but
No, but you really do have this
we learn
great
from each other.
description. Yeah, we do. But you have like this great
We really
description
do.
of what cinema does,
What it
and
can
how
do.
it does it. Yeah, you can't
Yeah.
really learn some
Fair.
things from any movie, right? Like Despicable Me, Minions, all that stuff.
Okay, well, let's not name any names.
Well, I named Minions, so.
Or Minions: The Rise of Gru.
Anything else you guys have to add, or?
I don't know any of the points because that was a good conclusion.
Nah, I think Warren kind of nailed like with that final little emotive hit, and
Yeah.
I think we're good to go.
All right, you want to move on to ratings?
Sure. You want me to go first?
How about you
We'll
end
break
us?
the ice? All right, fair enough.
All
I
right,
think you should end us.
Carter.
I'm up.
Yeah, which one of us? Me or you?
Oh, let's
All right, I
sandwich
choose
it.
Warren.
You go ahead, Warren.
Okay, I'll go first. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, I'd highly recommend you go check this out. I think it's got something that everyone can appreciate because it's so many slices from so many different genres and so many different things that it hits on. Yeah, I thought it was really fun. 8 out of 10.
All right.
All right.
Big money for Warren.
Yeah.
I loved it. I really did. It's really, really good. It's not quite great. I'm so pumped to see what Nida Manzoor has in store in the future. Really, just a rock solid debut that is awesome. Should be seen. Go check it out. Can't recommend it enough. I don't know if it's in theaters still, but it's better than anything else in theaters right now, probably. Uh,
Ooh, shade thrown.
it's hard. Like,
I agree.
it's a 7 for me. But honestly,
Sure.
I've been thinking a lot about like just not rating movies anymore because a 7 like it's hard to reduce. I don't like reducing a movie just to a number, saying this movie is 7 out of 10 for me because it, 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 it I feel a lot differently than just sticking a number on it and saying that's how I feel
That's what
because
the
that's not
podcast's
what you're
for.
supposed to reduce a movie down to. I don't know. Been thinking about it for a while. I'm not sure what I'll do, but we'll see. I know there's people out there like, well, what do you mean? It's perfectly encapsulated. It's 7 out of 10. That's how good it is. No, but what I'd say is watch the movie because it's good.
Yeah,
I
I think that's
recommend it.
fair.
Yeah,
All right, boys. Well, there's something for me about seeing movies with my mom that really does make the viewing experience just so much fun for me. And like my mom was really the one who got me into cinema and has kept me or introduced me into like good fun cinema as well. And I won't say the age I was, but she introduced me to like Kill Bill and Quentin Tarantino type films and all that stuff. And just I've loved movies ever since. And you guys have also helped grow that in me too. This has been a blast. Nida Manzoor, I will watch any movie that you do at day one. Seriously, this is fantastic. And this for me, I don't know if it's the first, but it is definitely a 10 out of 10 for the year. I
man.
love this movie so much. And like maybe it's that I'm giving it grace because it's the first film. Maybe it's because I really got to talk with my mom for like an hour and a half after the film where we just like kind of talked about everything we loved. We were just spending time with my mom. That was also cool. Spend time with your parents. They like it. But yeah, this is a 10 out of 10 for me. Just total experience movie. Just nailed it. Nailed it for me.
That's awesome. I did not expect that. I was thinking a 9, but all the way.
Yeah, I
All
know.
right.
I thought about it, I was like, is this a 9? And I was like, it was like, I think I could give it a 9, but I don't want to. And so I give it the 10.
Also,
it is in the like the 10 for Bill Cord favorites type of deal.
shout out to Will's mom for Will. Did you say that she made you sit through the credits for Guardians of the Galaxy all the way to the end?
Yes, she did. old mom is
Lot of
not
respect.
too
Cereal.
shabby. She is a cinema lover. So she has seen all the 10 out of 10 movies that I've seen in the past 2 years, which is just 3 besides movies I haven't seen before. But
Which is just
she saw Everything Everywhere All at Once with me. She saw Banshees with me. And she saw
she's
Polite
been to the
Society.
theater for your 3 theater 10 out of 10s. That
Yes,
sounds a lot
yes, yes,
better.
yes, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
She's
That's
also
very
introduced me
cool.
to other. Well, no, I took her to Dune too, but that was before. But I also do give Dune a 10 out of 10. Well, actually, Dune is a 10 out of 10 with
With
an asterisk.
Asterisks.
Yeah.
Because it's up to the next part.
Hey, man,
Shut up.
I keep getting worried.
There's no there. I'm not gonna say anything about the trailer, but we'll talk about it later.
Should I go watch
We'll
the
talk about
trailer? All right, anyway.
You can. Okay.
Always watch the trailer.
Yeah, it's very very tailor-made towards Warren and Will, I think. And there's not enough Coen Brothers for me to give it higher than a 7.
That's fair.
But all around thumbs up.
Cool. All right. You mind closing us out there, brother?
All right. Thanks for tuning in. Always happy to be with you guys. Always a blast.
Yes,
Oh,
it
Until
is.
next time, which hopefully will be soon. We are the Monkeys, and talking about movies is our business.